Yes, friends, hope all is well. Today I'm going to talk about three-dimensional approach in decision making and how that facilitate good decisions, sound decision, sustainable decisions, and also pretty cost effective and pretty time efficient decisions. And by the way, in everything in life, whether that is personal or business, quick and sustainable, efficient, cost-effective decisions play a very, very important role. You could make one bad decision and that can take you to ditch. You can make a bunch of good decisions and that can lead you to further enhancement in life, success in life. So I will share with you, I have been sharing with you that how Trump has been making, decisions by the hip, mostly using tactics, and we can see where we are. And today, unfortunately, there's not much change in the affair of the whole world in the United States and state of moves because Trump's decisions are very, very tactical in nature. They are not well thought out or strategic in nature. So remember I told you there are three dimensions. First, the foundation dimension is technical, then strategic, and then tactical. Whereas Trump used only and only tactical approach. So today we're not going to talk about Trump because we may not be able to, learn a lot more from it because nothing is changing. But I want to share with you a couple of personal recent reflections so that you might understand that what I'm talking about three-dimensional approach. So I have been saying that there is three dimensions one should analyze its strategy based on. The first one is technical. What means is having the domain expertise to understand what decisions you are going to make and what are the breakdown of that decision making. What is the technical side of things, and I'm gonna give you example and you will understand. Then what is the strategic direction and benefit, and then lastly, how do we tactically better execute it so it's more long-term efficient and sustainable. So let's just give you examples so you understand. So I had two major things I had to do recently. So I would basically, number one, talk to you about my personal little setback I had. For example, my prostate has been getting bigger and it's still large. And as you know, all men over 40 have that challenge. Unfortunately, we don't really talk much about it and we try to kind of manage this with the meds. And I, with God's blessing, didn't have any other issue, but I see that my size is getting quite big over the years, last 10 years I'm talking about. And I have been taking one pill, but now doctor was telling me to take another pill. And I stopped and I asked myself, do I really want to keep increasing the pills, or do I want to really, tackle the root cause and see if I can really look at it technically speaking? So that's exactly what the technical side I'm talking about. That you try to understand what problems are we trying to solve in every decision making. What problems are we trying to solve? Because if you keep asking yourself what problems are you trying to solve, then you stay focused and you don't really go left and right. Not only it will be efficient, but also cost effective, and it will be strategic and sustainable. Okay, so I did a lot of study that why it happens and how could this be resolved and what could be the long-term harm of not technically, tackling it from the core. Okay, so chemicals, mean medicines, can only really benefit you so far. It actually cannot even, I don't think it even shrink more than 10%. But you can do your study. But the most important thing is there's not a single pill we take that does not have some of the side effects. And some of the side effects of the known prostate pills are really pretty brutal. So I don't need to go more detail into that. You can definitely do your own study. But I was seeing major drawbacks for those meds. So I asked myself, and then I discussed that with my doctor as well, that this, if we really continue taking the pills gonna keep increasing, but still it will not be a sustainable, good decision. So now there are lots and lots of opportunities for very, very good non-invasive solutions. By the way, nothing is pain-free. Nothing is pain-free. The question is, you technically analyze and strategically decide what type of pain you want to take and how much gain you want, and which, in your strategic opinion, after doing technical analysis, what is best for you. So I realized that yes, if I go for a procedure, there is one procedure, there are many. There's one called aquablation. That's very, very new technique, and we happen to have very good expertise here. So I was lucky that I actually happened to know Dr. Chintan Patel in our local Boost Medical Center. I'm giving this name here because, this is giving, if you know something good, then you should spread it. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So, if you are, if you have a technique and that technique is non-invasive, and yes, after the surgery and the procedure, you have some ramifications, you have some pains to deal with. And I'm still going through it. I'm not done with it. But I do believe and hope, based on my analysis, based on my study, based on my technical analysis, that the pain is short-lived and the drawbacks are far less. The risks are far more calculated now than taking the pills and having the long-term issue, lingering on issue, and putting more chemicals in your body that might destroy many other, organs or affect many other things. So this was my technical analysis. Then I looked at strategically time effectiveness, cost effectiveness, and quality of life, that what is really the right path for me. So that is really my strategic side of things. And then tactically, I had certain conversations and certain studies and certain deliverables which I took care of. So this three-dimensional approach with technical, strategic thinking and tactical execution, that really helped me make the decisions very quickly. I mean, some of my friends were shocked that I was able to make the decisions very, very quickly. And people said, what happened? You were walking around yesterday, so why did you do this procedure? Because I do not believe that once you come to the right decision, then you do not want to just keep rethinking. Because that's also another lack of leadership, where you rethink, then you don't really make decisions, and then you just move on. Likewise, I deal with contracts and decisions making at various stages, and I'm actually helping some M&A activity. In that M&A activity, I saw that what was going on with the legal firm, and I saw that the legal firm was making lots of mistakes because it was not, selected well and did not have the depth, and that was going to create a very non-optimal solution, and very expensive solution, and very delayed risk solution in the non-optimal. How sometimes lawyers just frustrate you to a point where you take, lesser evil as a decision. You don't really have to do it. So then I put a pause which was very, very difficult to do because people get very annoyed and worried that it's going to break the deal. But you've got to really have some muscles. You've got to really put the stake on the ground. Sometimes you have to stop and take a step back because that is even better for your step forward. So I was able to convince the team, even though I was just consulting, I was able to convince the team to take a pause and then re-look at this team. And yes, that may have put them look like few days behind, not weeks, not even a week. But with this new team, they are going to make leaps and bounds progress, which will be weeks, and the solution is going to be far more optimal. And the cost will be less. So the overall will be much faster decision, much cost-effective decision, much more sustainable decision. Parties will be happier. Things will be done properly, so there is no other ramification come into play in terms of taxes, in terms of longevity, but sometimes you have to take tough decisions. So if you have to, that's where I'm getting at. Whether I'm giving you a personal example, that was a tough decision personally. Many people will just linger on, keep taking pills, because I didn't really have that huge of an issue, and God's blessing, there was no malignancy or anything. But still I went for it because I'm very healthy, God's blessing, I'm in good shape. Why not take care of something it's coming, that you have big gorilla coming to harm you, and you close your eyes and you just take lesser evil and you just move on. No, you don't. And that's where I'm saying, if you have this ability to think through these dimensions, which is technical, strategic, and tactics, and then you basically, that tells you that you did your homework right. And when you do your homework right, then show leadership, decide, and move forward. I was a 7th grader when I learned this through a very great scholar who I used to sit with. He said, one trait of the good leadership is, once you make a decision, first you do all the analysis, all the due diligence, but once you're done, don't look back. Don't say, oh, okay, let's think again and think again. Oh, what about this and what about that? How about this team? How about that team? No. Once you make a decision, you stick with it, and then you move on. But if you see a big hole, no problem. Take a pause and look at things as a whole team. But don't keep rethinking and wasting time. That's really my today's, I will say, intake here. Number 1, use 3-dimensional approach. Technical, analyze the problem technically, think strategically, execute tactically, but with those technical analysis, technical background, technical data, and with strategic direction. So then the next thing is, once you're ready to make a decision, make a decision. Don't just keep going in circles. Don't waste time. And really, these are the 2 intakes today that have a very good, well thought out decision-making process, and then decision-making power. May God bless you all. Thank you.